Hi, welcome to Mud's Closet. My name is Miriam, and we're going to do the first video in a series of videos about tea. I feel like I need to say here at the outset that I'm not an expert. I don't think I can call myself a tea connoisseur. I'm just a person that's been drinking tea for 50 years, that loves it, enjoys it, and is fascinated by the depth of information that's available about it. So as we go, if there's something that you want to see, a topic that you want covered, a distinction that you want some information on or more information on, leave me a comment or question below, and we'll see what we can do. In English we say tea. In other languages there's a lot of variance, but also kind of a similar feel to the word. Chai, right, is the word tea in a different language. Shy is the word tea in a different language. Sha or cha is also tea in a different language. And that tells us that tea really permeates a lot of humanity. Most cultures, whether it's a Japanese tea ceremony or British high tea, or just hanging out in your apartment drinking a big mug of tea, we all have our rituals around it, and it's a part of life. So the first distinction that we're going to talk about is the word tea. Technically speaking, tea comes from a specific plant, Camellia sinensis, and they're grown in very dry, arid climates. And tea can come from the leaves or the buds of that particular plant. So technically speaking, tea is tea when it comes from that plant. In the world that we live in today, we call things like herbal teas, teas. In the past, they might have been called an herbal or a tisane or something like that. For my world, tea is tea. It comes in a box or in a bag, and it might be what we call black tea from the tea plant, or it could be a blend of herbals. So for the purposes of these videos, tea is anything that comes or anything that we steep in water. So that's our first distinction. The second distinction that we're going to talk about is loose tea versus bagged tea. And bagged tea is sometimes called a sachet, which is newer to me because we just said a tea bag. And sachet somehow seems a little pretentious, but I kind of like it because it's also a little sophisticated. So call it whatever you want. The differences are sometimes minor, sometimes major, and it's really a point of difference among tea snobs that you can't get a good cup of tea with the tea bag. And I found in my experience that's not so. I can get a good cup of tea from loose tea and bag tea, and even a bag tea or loose tea used again. So go by your own experience. Let me show you some examples of each. Loose tea generally comes in a bag of some sort, but as you can see all the little pieces in it. So this tea, if I want to brew it, is either tossed directly into the pot, or I put it in a strainer of some sort. If I toss it directly into the pot, when I pour it, I'm going to use a strainer of some sort, pour the tea in so I can lift the leaves out when I'm ready to drink it. Or I can use a tea ball or a little doodah like this that we put the loose tea in there. This has holes in it, so this would be placed in the cup and boiling water poured over it. I would allow it to steep and then remove this and then just have the tea that's left in there. If I'm using some sort of contained process, I want to make sure that I don't fill these more than halfway with tea leaves so that they have a chance to unfurl. whether we're talking about herbs or traditional black, green, or white teas, they need to have room to unfurl. Tea bags are already contained. So I would just put this in my cup and pour almost boiling water over it, allow it to steep for a few minutes, and then drink. Tea bags are a fascinating thing. Some of the benefits of either, if I want to use loose tea, what I end up with is the opportunity while it's steeping for these leaves, buds, blooms, petals, stems, bark, whatever it is that's in the package, to have some room to expand and really release the aromatic components and the flavor components. This is not necessarily convenient to carry with me and make a cup of tea someplace. The tea bag is very convenient. And you know, there are a lot of them, a lot of different types of tea bag. This is kind of a traditional one. This is paper almost. Could be considered biodegradable. The string is biodegradable. The paper is biodegradable. If I'm getting tea bags, I do like them when they come in an individual package in the box. Not very environmentally sound, but they stay fresher longer. And I do have issues with buying a lot of tea. So the longer they stay fresh, the more chance I'm going to have of having a good cup of tea. Other types of bags. This is a Mighty Leaf tea. And you can see that this tea bag is actually made of fabric. It's stitched, and then the tag is attached with the stitching. This is a beautiful bag of tea. This is Mighty Leaf Organic African Nectar. It's one of my favorites. It's kind of fruity and florally both. Really a beautiful amber cup of tea. And you can see that this bag is bigger. Comparatively, you can see pieces of things in there versus a bag like this that doesn't have as much room to expand, and the fibers aren't as wide as this one. The main difference, this one ends up costing me about 10 or 12 cents a bag. This one is sometimes as much as 50 cents a bag, depending on how many I buy at a time. So you kind of get what you pay for, and both are good. I had some fun with traditional medicinals through the holiday. This one is Peace on Earth Peppermint. They had Nighty Night before Christmas. They had some different holiday tea packaging of some of their most popular teas. This is a paper bag versus the foil bag, so it's a little more environmentally sound. This tea bag has a pleat on the bottom, and you can see that there's room. It's almost like a double bag, so more water can go through to steep it. The other thing that I like about the traditional medicinals is they have a little motivational or inspirational quote. This is cute packaging that I just wanted to share with you. Revolution. It's one tea bag in a box, individually wrapped in plastic. Not so environmental, but it does keep them fresh, and it really makes a beautiful gift. This is also a kind of a satiny bag that has a relatively open weave, open enough to allow water through but keep the pieces in. And again, you can see that this just really has beautiful pieces of stuff in there to steep. Additionally, this is a Relax Organic tea from Trader Joe's. This comes in a clear plastic bag. Now, we're going to talk about storage in a minute, but I keep these in the box because light is harmful to the tea. What I like about this tea is, much like the other broader bags that I've shown you, you can see what's in there. We can see the fennel seeds, we can see the pieces of cinnamon, we can see some of the lemongrass. You can tell what's in there. Is this a tea from the tea plant? No, it's an herbal tisane or an herbal tea, and it's beautiful and delicious and yummy. I want to show you this one lastly because this is a really unique shaped tea bag. GH Ford. I ordered these online a while ago. First of all, it's really kind of cool how they're packed in the box, layers at a time, a little doily over each, so that's just kind of an elegant presentation. This is a little pouch, and that's kind of neat, and even the tag is just a unique shape. It's not a square. So every part of the tea ritual can enhance your experience. So do I use tea bags or do I use loose tea? Tea bags are easy. They're portable. They're very common. They're easy to find at the store. Loose tea has usually more space to unfurl. You might get a fuller flavor. There's a different kind of experience that you get when you get to actually see all the pieces in the tea. Generally, when we're talking about cost, loose teas might require more money at the outset, but you get more for your money. A box of expensive tea, that 20 tea bags in the box, is $20. It's a total of 1.4 ounces of tea total. Or I can buy a 5-ounce jar for $39.99. So it's almost half the cost per ounce, but it's still a much larger outset. And if you don't have a strainer of some sort, whether it's one that you're going to put the tea in and steep with, or strain it after it's brewed, those are minimal investments. I bought a bunch of these for some of my clients for gifts for the holidays, and they were not expensive at all, a couple dollars. This I got at an Asian mart for 59 cents or something like that. It was very inexpensive, and I really thought this handle was cool. So anyways, there's a lot of options. Storing is the third distinction that I want to talk about. As you can tell from some of these teas, they are gorgeous, and the visual appeal contributes to the quality of our experience. However, if we store them where they can be seen, in other words, if you want to put them in cool, pretty glass jars along your counter or something, light and moisture are bad for tea. So don't do that. Don't store them in glass. Keep them either in a tin that they came in, or put them in a tin, or in the case of my tea bags that come in a plastic bag or a clear bag, I leave them in the box just to keep protecting them. So for this first video, we've talked about the type of tea, black tea or herbal teas, all being called tea from here on out. We talked about loose or a bagged or sachets, and we talked about storage. So I think that's a lot. We're going to call this one done. If you want to see something in the future, put it down in the notes. If you've got questions, please feel free to ask them. Give me a like, give me a share if you liked what this had to offer, and keep your eye out. We will be doing more tea distinctions, some brewing, some tea reviews, some homemade herbal tea blends, anything else that you want to see. Thanks for watching.